Record. Good. So great to have you all on. I think all of you, this is your first workshop of mine, certainly live. You may have watched a couple on the recordings. So I do like to keep it a little bit interactive, as relevant to you guys as possible, rather than me just sort of giving you the theoretical stuff to really sort of help you with understanding and putting it into practice. So if you do have questions that you want to ask, then please just let me know, and we'll deal with those as we go through. And then I'm aiming to finish around about 5:30, so hopefully that's okay for everybody. If you do have interruptions, just do put yourself on mute, and just drop in the chat box if you want to, that you've got to shoot off and if you're coming back or not, so I don't hang around waiting for you too much. Good. So a little bit about these workshops. So there's 6 in the series. I cover what I think are the core 6 to building businesses: self-mastery, which is sort of more time management; finance, sales; customer mastery; team mastery; and obviously today's is marketing, which is really about how do we use marketing to grow the business. So it'd be good to know a little bit about what you guys want from this workshop. So, what is it you'd like to get out of this? Hopefully you've all come from your own volition, rather than being told you must be on this, that there's something you want to get out. So Seb, as a marketing person, is there anything specific around marketing, that question you've always wanted to ask, or a particular area?
No, I mean, our biggest challenge is when it comes to B2B marketing is getting more leads. So we're always trying to get more phone calls, more emails, more inquiries, and then our sales team can come in and close those inquiries.
Yeah,
I'm doing the best I can, driving traffic to the website, trying to boost our rankings, doing Google ads, social media, but getting qualified leads, that's probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah,
that's the key. Qualified leads.
I mean, and that's really what marketing is. As I'll show you in a minute, that's what really marketing is all about. So cool. So, Erin?
Sorry, I keep panicking every time I have to click a button. So we are currently working on our website for SEO, trying to kind of optimize, again, getting any traffic to us, because the role in which I work in is very specific, the same as my manager works in Desire. So we're just trying to optimize our website the best that we can, and trying to work alongside a man who builds websites while knowing nothing about marketing or anything else is becoming quite problematic, because I can't give advice when I don't know what I'm talking about. So kind of to push us in what we understand, so then we can ask for the best from him.
Okay.
So we can see results, I guess. But yeah.
Cool. Good. K2?
Just anything that's going to make it all better, really.
Okay.
I'm a bit like Erin. I'm a bit new to all of this marketing situation, so I'm in Erin's camp here.
Okay, that's good. We'll take it right back to the basics. And Karen M?
I'd just like to understand a bit more about marketing, understand what 303 are talking about when they do their jargon.
Yes, there is a lot of jargon. Not quite as much jargon as there is in accountancy, but there is a lot of jargon.
Tell me about it.
Cool. Okay. Look, we're definitely going to sort of cover the basics, and even someone like Seb, who's been in marketing for some time. I always think it's good to go back to the real fundamentals, so that we can then build on those building blocks, right? Because a lot of people end up doing activity but not getting the results that they want from it, because they don't understand the fundamentals, and then we need to go back and sort of develop it from there. So the first question we need to ask is really, what is marketing? How does marketing? We bandy that word around, and we use marketing agents, and we call ourselves marketeers, but we really want to understand what the essence of marketing is. And I've done numerous marketing courses. I read hundreds of books on marketing. I've done it myself. I've been to the university, and there's an element here that people sort of say, well, it's covers, the 7 Ps of marketing. I mean, said you might have come across this. It's about the process, the people, the place. It's all encompassing. And even if you go and speak to a qualified marketeer, the Institute of Chartered Marketeers, they generally come up with some convoluted way. But I think you nailed it, when I asked you, Seb, and marketing is about lead generation. Fundamentally, everything you do about marketing is about lead generation. Brand advertising, lead generation. SEO, lead generation. Pay-per-click, lead generation. Telephone calling, lead generation. Direct mail, lead generation. We're all trying to drive leads into the business. But we've got to see how it sort of fits in with the whole business growth, because we're not just doing it, to make the phone ring. We want that phone to lead to business, and that business to lead to sales, and that sales lead to profitability, because fundamentally that is the game of business. How do we drive profitability within a business? Just getting sales for sales sake, or if I get £100 sale and it costs me £100 to get it, then what's the point of that? I've not actually made any profit whatsoever. So the first fundamental we go back to is the fact that marketing is lead generation, and it's at the top of the funnel. Okay, so we have to start with this. So within Action Coach, we have this 5 ways to actually grow our business, and the first way is always lead generation. So how do I drive traffic, drive inquiries into my business? Once I've got those leads, then what kicks in is sales. Okay, so marketing and sales are actually 2 different disciplines. They require 2 different skill sets and 2 different levels of approach. It's not black and white. They merge very much, but we've got to understand that they are different in their makeup and how we go about them. So the first thing is, okay, marketing is lead generation, sales is conversion. Once I've got that customer, that customer is now mine. The next 2 kick in, which is how many times can I get that client to come back? Now, this sort of also falls in the marketing camp, but it's a different form of marketing to lead generation. And I liken this more to account management. So once I've got a customer, how do I nurture that customer and maintain the relationship in order for them to come back and buy from me? Once they buy from me, my goal then is to how do I add value? How do I sell more to them? Okay, so if I can actually increase that pound sale for every pound I get, then this formula starts to kick in. So my number of customers times the number of times they buy from me times the average pound they spend with me, that gives me my revenue. That's my turnover. Okay, but as we always say, turnover is vanity. If I'm not making margin, then I'm not making profit. So we have to understand that this is going on within our business, even in our, with Erin, you're driving a part of the business. Karen, you're doing some work on the promoting the jackets, as part of the business. This is happening as the business as a whole, but also in the small areas. Even a product goes through this process. Okay, so how do I get more people interested in this product? How do I convert them on this product? How do I get them to buy this product again and again and again? So really, really important to understand this and how it works. If you come to the sales mastery, I go into a little bit more detail around conversion rate and showing you how the numbers all come together. But for today, we're right at the top of the funnel looking at marketing. The thing I will say is marketing, out of all of these strategies here, if we wanted to improve any of these, in my mind, it's the last one that we try to improve, because it's the most costly, because the majority of marketing costs money, and it is the least effective. See, if I worked on conversion rate and my conversion rate was 50% and I wanted to get to 60%, it generally doesn't cost me any more money to do that. It's just training. It's just a bit of time and effort that goes into improving conversion rate. If I want to get people to come back, I can send them emails. Well, that doesn't really cost a great deal. I can pick up the phone. It doesn't cost a great deal because I already know them. I know who they are, where they are, Actually communicating to them is easy. Actually asking them if they want, I call it the McDonald's approach. Do you want fries with that? What else can we actually sell you? Again, it's just training. It's relatively easy. It's relatively cost effective. And the simplest strategy to increase margins is if you put your prices up by 10%, that 10% goes straight to your bottom line. Okay? So you can see here that the person in charge of marketing has the hardest job to do, because they've got so many, they don't really know where their customer is. They've got so many channels to communicate to their customer. The customer's bombarded with messages. That's why it's difficult. That's why the return often feels like, is it really worth it? And that's why we have to be very, very skillful in what we're trying to do. Any questions around that 5 ways? Does that all make sense, everybody? Some nodding of the heads there. Excellent.
Yep.
So I always start with my workshops with my little formula for success. Okay, and as I've got a new bunch in here, then I can ask you the my normal question. So this is the formula for success. So whatever you want to be successful at, this formula must stack up. And the have is my dreams and my goals. B is who do I need to be, my attitude, knowledge, and skills. And the do is what do I actually physically need to do. So you need all 3 here to be successful. One of these 3 is more important than the other 2. So let's start with Karen 2, K2. Which one of those 3 do you think is the most important for success to happen? The be, the do, or the have?
I would say the do.
The do. Okay, if you don't get off your backside,
you've got to have a plan.
You've got to have a plan. Yep. Yep. And then you've got to actually do something about that plan, haven't you?
Yeah.
Cool. Good. The other, Karen, what would you go for? Would you?
So you've got to have the dreams, the goals, the ambition, and then you formulate the plan.
Right. Cool. We got one for the do, one for the have. Yeah, Erin?
I would say the have as well, because you're never going to get the knowledge or the skills to be able to plan our action. Something if you don't have the dreams or the aspirations to try and achieve something,
Cool.
You need to be inspired to do it before you're going to have the attitude to do it and then be able to plan it. So yeah, I guess,
Okay.
don't know.
Go for the have. Yep, Seb.
I say do, actually. Yeah, I think you got to plan it and then take action
and actually do it.
But yeah, just to make it 2-2.
So no one went for the B this time. Normally I get a few for the B. So my answer to this one is I'm with the have people. Okay, because the goal drives the activity. If you're clear what you want to have, then you be what it takes and you do what it takes. What I find with people who are focused on the do, they become busy fools. They're doing a lot, but they're actually not always moving towards where they want to go. The B's are the people that love to educate themselves and learn stuff, but they never actually do anything with what they've actually learned. Okay, so this is why all 3 need to be there, but the starting point for me is always clarity around the dream and the goal. So what we've therefore got to do is say, right, well, what are our marketing goals? If we're not clear exactly what our marketing goals are, then how can we be and how can we do what we want to do? Okay, so Seb, you're in marketing, so give me a marketing goal that you're working towards at the moment. Just, you might have lots of them, but what would be one key marketing goal?
From my perspective, I'm just a small part of the company, but just to increase the number of online orders. So that's one goal: increase online orders and increase online revenue.
Increase online orders and online revenue. Okay, so let's. I'm not going to pick on you, but that would be a classic example of when I ask people what a goal is. Okay, that they go, I want to increase, I want to get better at. Yeah. The problem with when we set goals like that is they're not smart. So have you heard of the phrase SMART goals? Yeah, so goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, in a time frame. Okay, I add two others because I smartify my goals. So do you remember Smarties? Does anybody still eat Smarties? There's an old advert that said Smarties had the answer. Okay, so you used to shake your get Smarties. So I add inspiring and emotional to this. So if a goal isn't specific, measurable, achievable, realistic in a time frame, and inspiring and emotional, the chances are you're not going to achieve it. So when you set a goal like increase online orders, yeah, is that specific?
No, it wouldn't be that specific.
Not that specific.
You'd have to add a percentage to it, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so how could we smartify that goal then? Let's use that goal to smartify it. So when we're saying increase online orders,
yeah, we'd say increase online orders year on year by 20%.
Okay. So
10% above inflation.
last year was let's say we'll just pick a figure. Let's say it was 100,000 last year, and this year you're saying this year needs to be 120,000.
Yeah,
by 20%. So we've actually given it a monetary value. So
yeah.
percentage is fine, but yeah, if you can actually turn it into pounds, shillings, and pence, then it actually becomes real to people. A lot of people don't really understand percentages, but they do understand when it comes to back down to money. Okay, so we've got 120,000. So we want to increase our sales, our online orders to 120,000. Yeah. So is that measurable? Can we measure that on a day-to-day basis, how close we're getting to that figure?
Yeah, it's quite easy to measure, yeah.
Okay. So is it achievable in the time frame that we've given ourselves?
Yeah, it is achievable with a lot of resources. It's quite a high target, to be fair, but it is achievable.
Exactly. So it needs to be stretching. So we don't want a goal that is easy. This is not what goals are for. Goals are there to stretch us. People that climb Mount Everest, that's their goal, are stretching themselves to a point where, if they make it, it's great. But if they don't make it, they want to try again. So whether we succeed or whether we fail shouldn't matter. Yeah, because if we fail, we should be motivated to try again, and if we succeed, we should be motivated to go for the next mountain. What's next after achieving that? So the time frame we've given ourselves is 12 months. In this respect, okay, I can sort of accept that that's of increase in that time frame. But a lot of people set goals that are too ambitious. That they set it that I want to achieve that in the next month. Well, is that realistic in the time frame that we've given ourselves? Probably not. Then it comes back to, is that an inspiring and emotional goal for you? As the marketing person, does that make you wake up in the morning and go, this is going to be a great day because I am well on my way to increasing online orders to £120,000?
Yeah, it's quite inspiring, yeah.
Quite inspiring, but not massively inspiring.
Not massively inspiring.
Not massively inspiring. So what we want to do is see, right, how can we end up smartifying this more? Because what we want, and don't forget, we're all cogs in the machine. You are not, I'm guessing, 100% responsible for £120,000 of online orders. There's other factors at play within here. Same as Erin won't be 100% responsible for her sales targets, Karen either. So what we have to remember then is, we need to really go back. I'll go back a little bit here. We need to go back to this, and say, okay, what we're looking at here is revenues. So £120,000 here is actually got, sales skills involved in here as well as lead generation. And as I said, marketing, the getting the people to the website in the first instance, whether they buy or not, is marketing. Getting them to buy, convert once they're there is sales. So there's two different skills. There's conversion rate if we're selling it online. There's a conversion rate skill, and then there's a marketing skill, and they are different. There's similar and there's crossover, but to my mind, there's a different set of skills that are required for both of those. And certainly when you bring in the telephone, then, so if they come to the website and then phone up, then you're bringing another set of skills in, with verbal communication. So we've got to be very clear within this. Okay, when we set a goal, that might be the big goal of the company. What's our specific goal? What's our smartified goal for what we're trying to do within our department for each area of what we're actually responsible for? Okay, because I'm guessing you're responsible for a number of areas within marketing, Seb, and Erin is just learning this, and I know Karen and Karen are responsible for a lot more things than just the one particular thing that brings in leads. Let me just come back to where we were. Okay, so what we've got to do then is basically start with the end in mind. So the great wizard Merlin said, look, I can create any spell you want, but I need to know what the spell's for. So what are you trying to achieve? And then I'll create the spell to make it happen. And that's really what we're doing within marketing, is we want to know what's the end result, and then we can work backwards. So ideally we want more profit, don't we? Okay, that's the ultimate aim for sales or for business. In order to get profit, we need our sales. Therefore, we need our average transaction value. We need to know our number of existing clients. We need to know our new clients. We need to know our conversion rate. We need to know how many leads that we're going to get from that, how many strategies that we're going to use, what the activity is that we're going to actually do to achieve it, and how much budget we actually need to make it happen. So if we look at a little example then and say, look, if we want 50,000 of profit, and our margin is, let's say, 10%, then we need £500,000 of sales. If our average transaction value is 5,000, then we're going to need, and we've got 70 existing clients. How many new clients are we going to need in order to achieve those numbers? Karen? Or one of the Karens? Sorry?
And you need 30 more.
I need 30 more. Okay, so 70 I've got already, therefore I need 30 new clients. So this is where marketing comes in, is look, 70 people are going to buy anyway, because we've already got the relationship with them. As long as we keep in contact with them, they're going to come back and buy. So if we're looking to get this extra sales in, we need to find 30 new customers. If our conversion rate is 50%, and we need 60 leads. Okay, and that would equate to 5 leads per month. So the number of strategies, if we had 5 strategies going, then each of those strategies would deliver 1 lead. If I send 1,000 flyers out, 1,000 emails out, 1,000 whatever activity that I do, get 1 lead, and £500 per client equals £250 a lead equals 25p a flyer. So I've now set, if you want 30 leads to achieve my sales target, you're going to need to give me £250, 25p a flyer, budget in order to be able to deliver on that. And this is where marketing comes in, and marketing is maths, marketing is about return on investment. So if I knew 100% that I had a marketing strategy that gave a 10 times return on investment, so you spent £1,000 and you got £10,000 of profit back from that marketing, how much should I spend on that marketing strategy? Seb, what would you say? I've got a guaranteed marketing strategy that you spend 1,000, it gives you 10,000.
Spend 1,000, it brings you 10,000. So you're 10x in your
10x in my investment. Yeah. So how much
Yeah.
should I spend in order on that strategy?
And it's 500 per client. Looking at £50 to bring in 500.
So I'd spend £50 to bring in 500. Yeah. So, and if I knew that worked, if I knew I could spend £50 and I could bring in £500, yeah, how much should I dedicate to that marketing strategy?
Or what, to meet your yearly target?
Yeah. Well,
5,000.
5,000 if I wanted to, but if I knew, if I could guarantee that marketing strategy worked, how much would I put into that marketing strategy? Would I limit it to 5,000?
Well, if you're 10xing your money, you just spend everything you have to
Spend everything I have. Yeah.
Keep
You know,
10x.
and to be honest, if I was guaranteed, I'd go and borrow money to actually go and do it.
You'd sell your house and then keep doing that.
Yeah. If I was 100% sure that that marketing strategy would work indefinitely and ramp it up. Now, the reality of life is no marketing strategy works indefinitely. Yeah. And every marketing strategy gets to a point of diminishing returns. Okay, so you're trying to find that peak. So it starts with nothing, no return, no return, no return. Then you hit something and you start to get your ROAS, return on ad spend. Yeah, and then it hits a peak and then it drops down again. Okay, so every pound you spend over that amount doesn't really give you much of a return. So you're always looking for that sweet spot. You never know where it is. So you've got to decide whether you stop before you start spending too much, or you get it on the way up or on the way down. Okay, and that's why in marketing the numbers are so important. You know, if you don't know your numbers in marketing, I don't think you can market. Everything needs to be measured because it's so important to understand your return on investment and have those numbers ready. Okay, so you've got to know, right, how much do I need to generate? What am I willing to invest to get that level of business, and then measure my progress towards it to know what I should be doing more of, what I should be stopping, and what I should be starting. Okay, so there's that. I know for those of you that are not in marketing, this might be a little bit sort of, wow, I don't quite understand that. Are there any, can you sort of relate that to your businesses, Erin, Karen?
I don't really believe that there is a set price per lead, because when you're in a recession, when the market is depressed, it's going to take more effort, more money to get that lead, surely, than it is when the market is buoyant.
I would say yes, it does change, but your return, there's a point where your return doesn't work. So if you gave me, so let's use one of your jackets. So how much do you retail your jacket at?
Yeah, over 1,000 each.
So let's say it's £1,000. Okay, so let's say your margin on that is £500. So every jacket you sell for £1,000, you make £500.
Right.
So would you spend? And how many times does somebody, once they've bought a jacket, buy another jacket?
Sometimes they buy it for their partner, sometimes, most often not, just one jacket in their
Most
life.
often, yeah. So your number of transactions is probably about 1.1, 1.01, something like that. It's not something that you're generally going to buy every day.
No.
Whereas with Seb, for Seb's business, if I come and buy a piece of electrical equipment, yeah, how often am I likely to buy something similar from you over the course of 12 months?
Yes, a lot of times.
Yeah, we have some customers that order multiple times a year, and then the majority, about 50% are one-time customers, and then 50% are returning customers.
Yeah. So a big strategy there is to get the one-time customers to come back. And I know that's what we're working on with Mark and Andy. So, but for where we've just got a one-off sale, we've got to be more careful, because if we don't make money on that sale, then we don't have a chance to get it back again. So Seb can go and buy a customer. If Seb was doing something similar, and that customer, say, bought from you £500 profit every single month for the next 10 years, because once you get a client, you keep a client, they keep coming back, then you, at that point, you could spend £500 to get that customer in month 1, because you knew in month 2, 3, 4, 5 they would continue to buy from you. Whereas if Karen and Karen did that strategy, they'd be bust very, very quickly. Now, in times of, so therefore we've got to sort of set and say, right, well, what would be a reasonable amount of return on our marketing spend? Okay, and I would say it's potentially up to 10%. Okay, it depends on a lot of things, but there's ways to actually calculate it, but somewhere between 5 and 10% to buy a customer is probably about the average. So therefore, if we're willing to spend £50, that's our target. In tough times, it might cost you £55. In good times, it might cost you £45. But what I find in most cases, it's generally we don't spend enough on marketing. So we spend £5 and we wonder why we're not getting the results. So measurement, understanding what our goal is, and saying, right, our goal is to acquire a customer that generates £500 at £50. Then that's the stake we put in the ground. And then every single marketing strategy we do, we say, right, is that marketing strategy getting us for more or less than £50? If it's doing it for less, great, let's do more of that. If it's cost us more than £50, be careful, because we might be able to put that money that we're spending on that strategy into one that costs us less and actually get a better return on our money. So there's never a way to say there is a one size fits all. There's a right way on this for every business. You have to know your numbers, and it does. Sometimes it depends on products. Some products have got higher margins than other products, so your marketing budget needs to be carefully calculated on that. So once we've got our goal, what is it that we're trying to achieve, and when I come back to marketing, what it should finally lead to is what is the activity? Okay, so what activity do we need to do to generate the lead? So as we've got here, how many flyers would I need to send out on those conversion rates in order to generate that number of customers? How many emails would I need to send out? How much do I need to spend on pay-per-click? So I've got a client who spends £50,000 a month on Facebook advertising. Now, for most of us, we'd look at that and go, that's just a crazy amount of money. But he gets a 1.5, 1.2 to 1.5 return on ad spend. Now, again, that might seem crazy for most people. Why would you only get, for every £100,000 you'd get £120,000 in sales back? Okay, but the product he sells is a very, very high gross margin. So, he's got profit within the margin to do that. But his business is all about repeat. So he's willing to give up all of his profit on the first sale, because he knows once somebody's bought, then there's a 50% chance they're going to come and buy again. So we're all about bringing people in, buying customers, and then nurturing them so that they come back to us on a regular basis. And that's almost the mindset you've got to have within marketing, is you're buying customers. If I had a customer, your perfect ideal customer in my back pocket, how much would you pay me to take that customer over? Okay, so really understanding your numbers is vitally important in this. And if you are new to it, I would suggest start small, start with one particular product, one particular sector, as we'll see as we break it down, and then work it from there, and then start to ramp it up from there, rather than trying to do the whole thing in one go, because it'll probably blow your mind. So then we've got to sort of work on our beliefs. What do we need to be? What's our beliefs about marketing? And a belief is something that we hold to be true. Now, for some of us, we're in, it's our job to be marketeers, like Seb. For most of us, it's not our only part of the role that we do. It's a part of everything else. So, Erin's also involved in operations. I know Karen are involved in more administration things within the business. So the reason we don't do more marketing is generally because we don't have the time. There's a perception we don't have the money, and we don't have the skill. Okay, now each one of these we can work on. So time is about setting aside a time in your diary to do marketing. And I would say be specific with this. You actually write it into your diary, into your Google diary, your manual diary, whatever it is, and go, right, marketing, I don't particularly enjoy it, but I know I've got to do it. Therefore, let's put it in the diary for, first thing on a Tuesday. Generally, marketing, if you've got other things to do, don't do marketing on a Monday, because it's the day you're most likely to get hit with interruptions. So find a time where you're not going to be interrupted, where it could be the most effective. Give yourself a set amount of time. So, if you're going to do, because go back to our marketing budget, you've also got to have a time budget, not only a monetary budget, but a time budget, because a lot of marketing might be quite cheap to do, but it's quite expensive on a time basis. So set aside each week an amount of time to actually work on what we need to do. The money side of it really is about understanding what your return on investment is, and if you can demonstrate, look, this marketing strategy is getting a great return on investment, then why wouldn't the powers that be give you more money to work on it? If you can prove, right, I do this, I get this, therefore give me another £50,000. Okay, they might not be able to get it straight away, but you should be able to prove that you can build up to a bigger marketing budget. But likewise, if it's not working, you've got to be able to say, right, okay, I need to cut back my spending on this. So that's really about your financial understanding around, what your return on investment is. And the skill set is about constant improvement, constant learning. There are numerous books written on a regular basis, numerous podcasts. Marketing is changing all the time. The whole thing in the last 12 months, you've obviously heard of it, I'm sure you've used it as well, is artificial intelligence. There are some tasks that you can do now using AI, ChatGPT, that would take you an hour to do beforehand, you can do in about 5 seconds. Okay, so understanding technology, keeping pace with technology is vitally important. And this is why I say marketing is such a different skill set to sales, because sales is generally dealing with people, and people don't change that quickly. But technology changes rapidly. Okay,
Can I ask a question? Sorry.
Yeah, please do.
Just in regards to the AI thing, because I'm like massively against it, because I think that it takes away that kind of personal feel of who you're working with, because we're quite a small business.
Yeah.
And it's been brought up a couple of times about using it, but do you not think it can maybe subtract the kind of personal touch of a business and the people that are to be there if you're just using the exact same format of AI across the board? If everyone uses it, do you not just represent the exact same thing repeatedly?
I would say, look, it's there. Yeah. We are. I mean, this is like the very first fax machine. Okay, we are at a very early stage in AI. It is going to be around, and it's going to grow exponentially. If you like Terminator, my personal view is we're at the start of Skynet. God knows where it's going to go. it's a tool to be used. Okay, the same as email. Does email depersonalize communication? Yes, it does. Okay, is it a useful tool? Yes, it is. Is does Zoom depersonalize communication? Yes, it does. Does it make things a lot easier, speed things up? Yes, it does. So it is there. It is a tool to be used. Use it wisely, because a lot of people are just cheating, and there's too many people that go back to the be, do, have. They think marketing is do more. Okay, so let's write more blogs using AI and put them on the website.
It depends what you tell the AI to actually do. They're large language models, and if you put in a personalized question, it will give you a personalized answer. So there won't be answers that are all the same.
I would agree. I mean, I've written articles, blogs. I did based a workshop the other day, and I used AI to structure it, but I then personalize it. So it's that 80-20. I let it do 80% of the work, and then bring in the personal side for the 20%. So again, the answer to the question, I would say it is there. It is a great tool. Use it, but use it wisely. Don't just be a slave. Otherwise, you will just be regurgitating, what's out there. And don't forget the people, Google and the search engines, and that's really why we do this stuff. Are there to capture, to actually to understand who people are putting new content and new information on, or just regurgitating old information. So if your site is full of regurgitated old information, it's going to be looked at not particularly well. Have you come across it at all, Seb?
Yeah, so we do use ChatGPT, and we use Canva Magic Write and Google Bard. So we have about 6,000 products on our website, and a lot of them have one-line product descriptions. So what I've been doing for the last few months has been taking product data sheets and then inputting that into ChatGPT, and then asking it to write a detailed product description based on the input I gave it. So it does do a good job in terms of writing out what is on the data sheets. There's a lot of tables, cables. We might have bending radius, the temperature of the cable, the voltage drop calculations. And so it just summarizes what's on a data sheet, and then puts that into a format that we can add to a product description. I give it a once over, like you said, make sure all the data is correct. Most of the time it is, because I'm providing the information to ChatGPT, and then I'm just making sure that it doesn't come up with any funny words. And now when it comes to Google rankings, now Google do rank AI content, but you do have to make sure that it's not 100% AI written. So what I do is I run it through a plagiarism checker, and there's also an AI detector. So I run it through there and make sure it's less than 10% detected by AI. And then if it's under 10%, then I'm happy to put it on the website. So there are processes in place, and I do use it. It does save me a lot of time for those quick edits. And we do mainly use it for product descriptions. I have used it for newsletters to summarize old content that we have written, and then just rewrite it. And then that goes on a newsletter. Newsletters aren't indexed by Google. So I'm happy to use AI written content for the newsletters. But yeah, we're slowly implementing it throughout our website, but I'm checking our rankings carefully, making sure there's no detrimental effects. And I'm monitoring what Google are doing in terms of ranking AI content. But yeah, you can't just give it a prompt, write a blog post about this keyword, and then use the text 100% as it is. You have to make sure the prompt you enter is highly detailed. You give it a role, you give it an output, and you make sure everything is in the prompt before clicking generate. And then that's the best way I found to generate content.
So I akin it to, if you had an apprentice and you said, right, apprentice, go out and research this and write the description, treat AI like that. If you're sitting there and expecting them to come up with the perfect thing without you proofreading it, then okay, more for you. But for a way to get things done efficiently, yes, 100%. It's it's a tool to be used. So, but as I said, the big thing for this around the skill side of things is constantly evolving and changing. And if marketing isn't your number one thing, then the chances are you're not going to be able to learn all the skills you're going to need. Therefore, you've got to go out and find the people with the skills to at least learn from, or actually get them to do it for you. Okay. But if you understand the concept of marketing, then you can still let them do this, because you still need to be asked the questions. And the biggest one is, okay, what's the return on spend? Am I getting a good return on what I'm spending on doing this? So once we've got all of these, the time, money, and skills, then the other thing that we've got to remember is you are not your customer. Okay, your customer does not act like you, does not think like you. You have to take away what you would do, because you understand your product, you understand everything about what you do. You have to take yourself out of that and put yourself into their shoes. Okay, so it's a big thing, and a lot of people find within their marketing is they what we call it weeing all over yourself. So we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. We're brilliant, we're fantastic. Look at us, come to us. They don't want to hear that. There's an element they will need to understand it, but what the customer wants to know is, how do you solve their problem? Okay, so your marketing should always be focused about them. You're not the superhero going to fix it. They're the superhero that's fixing their own problem using your services. Okay, so it's a slightly different way of going about it. So you've got to make sure that every marketing piece you do is done from their perspective rather than your perspective. Okay, so it's a belief that most people have is, they believe that their customers are just, well, if it was me buying it, I would do this. Well, yeah, but you're not. So almost think about, if you're a 4-year-old child, what would you do? How would you respond to what you're sending them? Because often with people's attention span these days, it's not far off that retention span of a 4-year-old. So the first thing we have to understand is they're coming to you because they need or want something. And the way that we market for each of these is completely different. So if we're a need-based company, then people are generally looking for us. Okay, they have a problem that they need a quick solution to, so they're going to come to you very, very quickly. If it's a want towards pleasure, generally that process takes a lot longer. They think about it. So they need to be educated. They will do their research a lot more. The final level is purpose for others. So they're not doing it because they want something, but they're doing it for a greater purpose. Now, that becomes a lot harder, because they don't have to do it. There's no instant gratification. It's a gratification over a longer period of time. It's not really where most people are within their marketing. So we're generally dealing with away from pain marketing or towards pleasure marketing. Okay, so Seb, which one of those two would you say predominantly your customers fall into?
Definitely need.
Need.
So we sell a lot to panel builders, and they need the components to make those, and they hunt around looking for companies that have it.
Cool.
We have it, they need it, we give it to them.
Yeah. And the Karens, what would you say yours is?
I think both need and want, and also gifts for others. So all three, really.
Yeah. So there's a bit for purpose for others. Yeah. Karen?
There's the need, for a warm jacket or a nice new steering wheel, and that gives the pleasure as well. So
yeah, I would. What are you going to say, Karen? Karen,
No, I
too?
was agreeing. I was
Agree with
agreeing
that.
with Karen.
The danger is if you say they're all three, then your marketing message can become a little bit bland.
yes,
Okay. So part of me says, and I'm not, for a lot of people, you've got to decide which one you go for. Yeah.
Mm.
I would say, certainly with the jackets, it's a want-based thing. Yeah. Yes, they need warmth, but frankly, if you need a warm coat, and you need that, then you just go and buy a warm coat.
Mm.
Yeah, they want whatever it is that they're feeling that they get when they have one of your high-end coats.
The thing is our clientele they're like that across the board. There's never very rarely do they just say, oh yeah, I'm just going to have 6 of these or whatever. If we have, apart from obviously our supplier ones that we have, but others, it's just a one-off. It's not a business where it's all the time there's people buying 3 or 4.
No. So I would guess that people don't generally wake up in the one morning not knowing about what you sell and go, do you know what? I want one of those. They would have done some research. They would have seen it. They would sort of take their time. They would look around, and then they'll go, yeah, okay, I'll fancy one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be the odd one that just wakes up and just sees an advert and goes, oh wow, I was looking for one of those, and just buys it. But for want and desire type purchases, it tends to be a longer buying process. For Seb's clients, they're not going to sit there and dwell on whether they need a component part to finish a job. They need it and they need it quickly.
Yeah.
So the marketing that we do, depending on whether we're marketing to need and whether we're marketing to pleasure, is different. So we've got to be clear, first off where we sit, and then our marketing has got to be very much based around that particular type of person. What is it they're actually sort of, what is going to drive them towards us? Okay, so we're really working on that aspiration of what they actually need going forwards. Just
Okay.
I'll do back in a minute. So that's really just a few of the sort of the beliefs I find holds people back is their marketing is generally bland because they're trying to appeal to everybody. They think their customers think like them, so it's all in their language rather than the language of the actual customer themselves. And they don't really have real clarity around the goal and what they're actually trying to achieve. And that's why they turn around and say, well, I don't do much marketing and what I do doesn't work. Well, with that level of strategy, then it isn't going to work. So we've got to think then as, right, once we've got that headspace right, then we can start planning what we actually do. And the first thing that we've really got to understand within marketing, if we boil marketing down, to me, it comes down to 3 fundamental principles. First one is, who are we target? Who is our target? Okay, so what does our customer look like? What do they normally do? How do they behave? Really understand, get into the skin of who we're actually trying to sell to. And how many targets do you think we can have, Erin? How many target markets could a business have?
I'm honestly not sure. I've worked in quite a lot of different places, but ours is specifically people that have either had HSE come to them or they've learned outwardly that they require like an LED system or ventilation or something. So
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe a
So,
lot, maybe a small amount, I don't know.
I mean, it does, but to be honest, you can have as many targets as you want. But each one needs to be a target. What you can't do is market to everybody in the same way. If you've got different types of people, then that marketing isn't going to work across the board. So we've really got to think about who our target is. Then we've got to create a compelling offer. Okay, so what is it that's going to make them take action? Now, when we look at marketing, often we're looking at the marketing as being a step in the process. So the first thing, if we're marketing on Facebook, to a particular demographic, the offer for them is not to necessarily buy from that ad, it's to actually get them to our website. So what is going to be that compelling offer to get them from where they want to be to where we want them to get to? And then the copy is about the words that we use, the medium which we use to actually get them there. So if we're looking at putting our marketing plan together, we've got to sort of look at this and say, look, 50% of our effort needs to go in really identifying who we're marketing to. 30% of our effort should go into actually what the compelling offer is, what is going to make them take action. And the balancing 20% goes into actually the words and the copy that we use to actually get the message out. Now, what I find with most people when they're doing marketing, they spend 80% of their time down here, 20% of their time, 80% of the time here in the copy, 20% coming up with a pretty bland offer, and then nothing at all really around targeting. The more specific we can get on our target market, the more compelling the offer is to them, and therefore the easier it is to actually write the copy that gets them to take action. So if we go back to the want-based purchase for the leather flying jackets, and we said, right, what would be a good target market for people who want sheepskin flying jackets? Seb, come, we use you, somebody outside. So who do you think would be really interested in sheepskin leather flying jackets? These are old sort of World War II style coats.
Well, that's a good question. Are they gender specific jackets or unisex or
Unisex?
Unisex. Okay.
That's harsh. Have you actually ever seen one, Seb?
I'm
That's the thing. If you
head.
see it, you'll understand the target market a little easier than throwing it out. That was very cruel, Kevin.
It was cruel, but I wanted, because to me it doesn't. Whatever Seb comes up with, it doesn't matter. But what I wanted to do is come up with a target. But again, the whole thing about the product is gender neutral. That does not help us in targeting, does it? Because do females and do males think differently?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
We try to ban the females from the shop because they talk the guys out of buying one.
Well, that's you're now into sales strategies, Karen. So we've got to get them into the shop first. So we want to get them in. So if we're doing a marketing campaign, could we do a marketing campaign targeted to women and one that is targeted to men?
Yeah.
Yes. Would the message be different if we're going to men and women?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What age demographic do you think Seb would be most likely to buy a £1,000 leather jacket?
40 to 60 with a lot of money.
40 to 60 with a lot of money. Okay. So now we're looking at wealthy 40 to 60-year-old males or females.
Can I just say that's changing? That is changing. There's a lot of youngsters now buying it.
With wealthy parents.
Yeah.
So therefore, if there's lots of youngsters buying, there's something is driving the fashion.
Yeah.
If something is drive, so if we said it was a pop star, okay, let's say it was 28-year-olds that follow a particular pop star because they wore one of these jackets once. Yeah.
I think
Now
it's James
suddenly our target market is starting to shrink now. Yeah. So therefore, once we get to a point where we really get to understand how they think and what they're doing, then our offer is really focused directly into that. So what would be a good message to 20-something, people who follow a particular pop star?
It's difficult because then you're going to only target one area, whereas we still want to target the 40 to 60-year-olds with a lot of money.
Yeah, but this is marketing, Karen. Okay.
Yeah, I don't get it.
How many targets can you have?
We've got to have them all.
As many as you like. Okay?
Yeah.
So all we're doing here is we're saying, look, this particular marketing strategy is going after the 28-year-olds who follow this particular pop star. The offer for them is going to be something like, you two can look like this person. Ultimately, you could end up going down affiliate marketing. So you actually contact the pop star and say, look, for every jacket we sell, we'll give you 10%. Okay, so there's the offer, 10% off, and then the copy is, right, how do I get hold of those people? How do I find them? How do I communicate to them? Now, that would be one campaign that's going. Now, could you then have another campaign over to the
Yes,
you can.
Have to. Yeah,
you have to. You can't have one marketing campaign that appeals to everybody, because then nobody sees it. It will just be bland, dull, boring, and it will be switched over.
Yeah.
So the way that we look to find our target markets, is why this is so important, is we want to look at our existing client base. So who are our A-grade clients? Why are they A-grade? If I could find another one of those, would that be good for us? What's their problem? What are they actually thinking? And where do I find more of them? Because if I can really target down to a demographic that I know I can market to, then marketing becomes easy. If I don't know where they are, if I don't know what they think, then I have to do general bland ad marketing, and chuck a lot of muck at the wall and hope something sticks. So we want to get away from thinking marketing as being machine gun fire, trying to hit something, to sniper fire. We're going to go after specific types of people and see if we can actually pick them off one by one. So we've got to start with that demographic, that thinking about who are people, people in marketing called the persona. What would be a typical persona? And sometimes they give them a name, so, Trendy Derek. What does Trendy Derek do? For Seb, for you guys in B2B, it's more about the customer. So Seb, we've been talking about chickens, dinosaurs. I don't know if you've heard them guys talking about it, but I'm sure you will. As a particular size of customer, what size of customer should we be going after? If we're marketing to chickens, small businesses that only buy from us once or twice, is a different type of marketing. If we're going after a big dinosaur, that it's going to take probably 3 to 6 months before they decide to buy from us. Okay, so we've got to start breaking. And look, you've probably got more target markets than you can ever market to at the same time, certainly from starting point. So therefore, don't bother. Just find one or two that you think has got the best chance of success. Okay, and even if you fail, even if you market to them and it doesn't work, that's still a learning. You'll still learn from that process that you'll then put into the next campaign, the next campaign, the next campaign. Okay, so once we understand who our target is, then we need to know what sort of questions are they actually asking. And this is a book by a guy called Marcus Sheridan. He's got a lot of stuff on video. It's a good blog to sort of be part of as well. But he built a multi-million-pound swimming pool company in the States, based purely on SEO. So he did no other marketing than building his website, and his website was full of questions that people wanted answered. So what's the ideal pool for hot country, for hot climate? What's the ideal pool for cold climate? What temperature should I have my swimming pool at? So it was no sales technique in there. He wasn't trying to sell from the information. He was trying to draw people to the website. Once they were on the website and they had their piece of information, then he would start to market to them and actually work on his conversion rate strategies. So how do I get them to, once they've actually been here, to then actually come back and buy from me? But these are two different approaches. One was to get people, the marketing to get people to the site, which was all information based on questions that they were asking. And then what do I need to do to actually find how to help them once they're actually there? And that's something that ChatGPT can help you with. What are the 10 most important questions people are asking around flying jackets? Okay, it'll come up with this, whether they're all right or not, doesn't matter, but it's a good starting point to put it in. Okay, so if you know what your target market is, then you start asking, what the question is, what questions they actually asking around these products, these services that we offer. That then becomes the bait on your hook. That then helps you with your offer and the copy of actually how to get the information out there. So some of the questions, if you're not sure what the questions are, I mean, say it's a very good book. Certainly anyone involved in websites should have read the book. But he said, there's big 5 questions that pretty much everybody asks, and you need to answer that as quickly as you possibly can. You need to be the person that's giving them the information, because they'll go and find it somewhere, but you want them to find it from you. So what's the price and cost of whatever you're offering? What are the problems that can go wrong with it? So you've got to be prepared to talk about the weaknesses of your product and service. Okay, our product doesn't do this. People would prefer the honesty than you pretending that it does something that doesn't actually do. How does it compare to the competition? Talk about your competitors. Give them that information so that they understand that you're not being biased. If you want to come and buy from me, then do. This is people now in the buying are very educated before they buy. In the old days, the only place they got information was from you. So, help them with that education. And really your testimonials, your case studies, give them that proof. When you go and buy something on Amazon, I guarantee you will look to see how many stars it's got and how many people have left reviews. If it's around 4 to 5 stars and there's over 1,000 people that have reviewed it, you're generally going to buy that product. Okay, we look. It's part of human DNA is we look for confirmation from the people around us. If there isn't anybody in our family and people we know directly, then we'll look the next level, which is social proof. Okay, and then who are the best competitors? So so who else? Okay, there's the products compare, also the competitors as well. So who else should they be looking at? So understanding, really getting into that skin of who our customers are really helps us with the message that we're going to put out within our marketing. Then if we look at sort of new versus old marketing, old marketing, which a lot of is our sort of preconception of marketing, certainly, because really marketing has gone through a massive change in the last 10, 20 years, since the arrival of Facebook, LinkedIn, even emails have come on. Things have happened so much quicker than the 100 years or so before, where marketing was more of a steady growth. So in the old days, we had generally a captive audience. There wasn't much choice. the majority of customers were uneducated, they had a lot of time, and there wasn't much noise in the marketplace. Now, people are much happier to transition from you to somebody else. There's less loyalty to customers. There's a lot more choice. They generally have more information than they need. They have less time to make decisions, and there's a lot of noise. So we have to stand out in the crowd. We have to be clear what we stand for, so that we're not trying to market to everybody, but we're trying to market to those people that get us and understand who we are and what we stand for. Okay, that's where we're going to get the loyalty in today's world. So the way we do this is, our offer and what we're offering is our unique selling proposition and our basically our guarantee. So we need a story behind who we are and why people should buy from us. Okay, we're not trying to appeal to everybody. We're just trying to appeal to those people that we know have got the best chance of being our A-grade customers. So our unique selling proposition and our guarantee. Now, a guarantee is, I'll come on to that in a second. So the USP really is about what is our story. And this is another good book by Donald Miller, which is Building a Story Brand. So your history, who you are, is a big part of your uniqueness. So, for you guys that you don't know, the Irving flying jacket was the jacket that was worn by World War II bomber pilots in the war, and Motorlita acquired the rights to that. So the only people that can make an official Irving flying jacket are them. So they have an amazing story that they can tell around that product. The steering wheels that they do, there's also a story around that. So that creates the uniqueness. Now, anyone can have a leather flying jacket. Anyone can make that, but no one can actually have that story that they have. So that's the big part of their offer is we're looking for people that buy into that family, that culture of who we are, what we stand for. Okay, now for you guys B2B, it's not as easy to do that. Okay, because again, you're a need-based purchase, not a want-based purchase, but there's got to be something that's relevant to them. So what is your story about the service that you provide that stands you apart from everybody else? Okay, so our USP overcomes what we call the formula for change. Okay, so there's a formula we call the formula for change, which is my dissatisfaction with where I am, my vision of where I'm going in the future. What are the first steps must overcome the resistance to actually change? So if we want somebody to stop buying from somewhere else, we have to they have a resistance to changing because it's just a pain in the arse. Let's use an example. So, Erin, what bank do you bank with?
Monzo and Bank of Scotland and RBS. Okay,
so you've actually changed quite a bit. So if I now ask Karen M, what bank are you with personally? Coutts. Okay, so would you change from Coutts overnight? Would you just suddenly wake up one morning and go, I'm going to change bank?
No.
So what would be some of the resistance for you changing from Coutts to another bank?
Probably Simon. He wouldn't let us change.
He wouldn't let you change. So who's Simon?
Simon's Alex's father.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking of you personally. Let's do you personally, Karen.
Me personally. They'd have to give me better terms.
Okay, better terms. Yeah. So there would be a fairly high resistance for you to change. Better terms. You've grown accustomed to them. I mean, I've been with NatWest since I was 16 years old. and I'll probably be there till I die, because the resistance for me for changing is, I've got to go through all changing the standing orders, tell everybody about the new bank account, I'll get used to a new app. It's just the resistance is quite high. So the only way do I know how to change bank accounts? Yes, I do. So if you keep telling me how to change, I'm not going to really, it's not going to really affect this formula. So the marketing for me to change banks has got to be around the dissatisfaction with my current setup, and or the vision of what life will be like with this new fancy bank. Okay, so I didn't change banks, but I opened a new bank account with Revolut. Okay, because Revolut's vision was, here is a bank account that you can now have multi-currency. You can do your intercurrency transfers at the spot change for no cost. Okay, and I can move money around because it suited me, because my vision was, being overseas quite a bit, that actually really worked in my to my advantage. Dissatisfaction of where I was didn't really come into it, because the dissatisfaction was NatWest couldn't do that, and there was no real pain in the transfer, setting up a new bank account, which is why, Aaron, you've got 3-4 bank accounts, because nowadays it's so easy to set a new one up. You don't actually need to close the old ones down.
I actually did it because I thought that RBS was very not user friendly. Like their offers were phenomenal and the way that they treated you was great, but I felt like it took about 10 years to just access your account, and I get sick of it, and then I'd end up not doing something. Bank of Scotland, none of you are ever going to get to use that bank, thank goodness, because it's awful. And then Monzo is just an app that you can, click of a finger, you've done anything. You've got savings accounts, you can send money just by clicking pay. So I don't know, I'm lazy.
So the having that sort of that offer and that USP, helps us to reduce the risk and that resistance, and build the dissatisfaction. Sorry, either avoid the dissatisfaction, build on the vision. Okay, so we've got to utilize our uniqueness. What is it that sets us apart? Now, it doesn't need to be set us apart from everybody, but it needs to set us apart where we think our customers are. So these challenger banks have all come in about ease of use, how easy it is to set up bank accounts. And to be honest, they were so easy that a lot of them got into trouble because all the crooks were using them to set up fake bank accounts. So now having to come back in line and make it more difficult to set them up to overcome that. And that's why anything like Uber, Uber could grow really quickly because it disrupted the market, because it made things easier. The vision of actually standing waiting for a taxi suddenly was overcome because you could just order it on your phone and track where the cab was before you got it. And also paying, when you wanted a taxi, I never had cash, and some taxis don't take cards. Well, Uber, it's all paid for before, because the other fear was, in a taxi, am I going to get ripped off? Well, I've paid for the journey, so it doesn't matter. You can take me around the world, but I'm only paying £10 to get from here to there. So a USP is very, very powerful. What it's not, something vague and unspecific, that somebody else can do. So things like we care, we are the best, locally owned and operated, friendly. These are not USPs, because anybody could put their name on them. Okay, so we've got to have something that is very much dedicated to us. So a few little categories you could have. I mean, lower price is a USP. I don't recommend it, because if you're going to go down this one, you've got to be big. You've got to be able to play this game and beat everybody else, because otherwise you'll get lost to somebody that's bigger than you that can go lower than you. Okay, so if you look in the retail unit, companies that use this one would be Asda, Lidl, Aldi. And even Asda was a low price offering until Aldi and Lidl came along, and suddenly they got undercut. So it's you can have it, but you've got to know how to play the game. You can build it on service, convenience, choice, I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can start to see there is a lot of ways you can build your USP, your message of things that are relevant to your customer base. So sometimes we struggle to actually find, well, we're not really unique, we just do what everybody else does. In that case, you have to fall back onto your guarantee. Okay, so what is it you can guarantee that takes the risk away from that individual? Okay, there's something in there that we can actually guarantee that actually means that we take the risk away. So give us a go, because there's no risk. Now that could be service, it could be delivery, it could be returns policy. So a company called Zappos in the US built a multi-billion-pound shoe company, online shoe company. Now, people said when they started, no one's going to buy shoes online. What was the reason why they thought that selling shoes online wouldn't work?
Because you can't try them on.
Because you can't try them on. So what Zappos did was said, look, choose as many pairs of shoes as you like. Okay. You try them on at home. If you don't like them, send them back and we'll pay for them to come back and we'll refund you your money. Okay. So their guarantee was you take them in, you try them. If you don't like them, we'll 100% give you your money back.
Yeah. So they were on 100% risk-free.
100% risk-free. So what happened, and the added advantage of that and why it grew so quickly, is if you're going to buy a pair of shoes, what do you tend to do? If that was the case. Sorry?
You try them on.
Yeah, but if you were ordering online, so if there was 100% money back guarantee on the shoes that you were buying, what would you do? Would you buy one pair of shoes?
Well, you'd buy a few pairs of shoes and then you'd send back what you don't need.
Exactly. So what people were doing was rather than buying one pair of shoes, they were buying 3 or 4 pairs of shoes, trying them all. And then
they liked them and kept them.
And they liked them and kept them. So their average transaction value went from a traditional 1 to about 2.3.
Yeah.
Okay, because even if when you've got to send it back, you still hassle and people go, oh, I'll just keep them. I'd like them. I've paid for them now, so I'll just stick them in the cupboard. So they managed through that guarantee to massively ramp up sales because they took the risk away from the customer. If you can take the risk away, then you can actually really have your own sort of uniqueness in the marketplace. So target market first, then you've got to create your offer. You find your uniqueness, what it is about you, the product, your service that stands you out from everybody else. Once you've got that, then you can decide on, right, how do I get my message out to the market? Okay, what copy strategy do I use? Do I use advertising, website, emails? I mean, there's hundreds of strategies we can use, but each one needs a different set of skills and a different set of measurements and a different set of understanding. So you've got to either be the master of these or you've got to know somebody that is the master of these. Because the way you market on TikTok and Facebook, 50 to 80% is the same, but it's that's that 20% that makes the difference between success and failure. Okay, so we've got to know which of these strategies is right for us actually to deal with. And then once we know our target, then basically the key part to advertising, so we're trying to get this message out, this sort of, write our copy and get our message across, then we call this the AIDA principle, so AIDA, and it stands for attention, interest, desire, action. So every piece of marketing you do must apply this rule. Okay, so whether you send an email out, whether you put a Facebook post out, whether you do a TV campaign, doesn't matter what it is, you've got to follow the AIDA principle. Okay, so does it grab the attention? Does it create some interest, desire, and is there a clear call to action? What do you want them to do? So I'm going a bit old school because it's one I've got, and it shows this the best I've seen in any sort of piece of marketing. And get there. It was an advert quite a number of years ago, but I mean the company's still there. It's one of the most successful bed companies, in existence. And I was lucky enough to find the guy that actually was on the team that created this advert. So it was really interesting. I'd chosen this advert as being a really good one that followed the ADA rules. And he said, yes, back in the day, he was on the team. It was an award-winning advert, and it got an award because of its success. So its return on investment was massive. For every advert they placed, they would sell a couple, 100, 200 beds. So it was a massively successful campaign. This was pre-internet days, as you see from the coupon. Same logic applies now in a digital world as it did in the paper world that this was built. So the first thing that we look at is, imagine this is in a magazine, and the average person is reading a magazine, is flicking through a magazine. You need something that's going to grab the attention and make that person stop. So what happens here is the attention grabber is the headline. Okay, so it's this top third of the advert. We call it above the fold. Okay, so it's where people's eyes, if you read a newspaper, people always look at the headline first and then be drawn into the copy. Okay, this is what clickbait in Facebook is all about. If you can grab the attention within about 0.3 of a second, then you can pull somebody into that advert. So what is the attention grabber here? So in this case, it's the headline and the picture, because that's what people sort of see first. Headline. And we create some interest. Okay, so now we've got this testimonial that's placed right in the middle here that pulls people in. Here's something that somebody else has said about this advert, therefore it must be true. Then there's some good copy. Okay, so not too much, because too much puts people off, but just enough to draw you in to actually start to read. Use of bit points down here. Yeah. Okay, so there's a summary, so I can read a detail if I want to. I can get to the points here, and I've got third-party endorsement here. There's pictures. Okay, so this is, as you know, this is a memory foam product. They wanted to show what actually the product could do, so they actually had this insert picture in here. We created some desire through some free stuff, giving stuff away. Yeah, accreditation. Okay, so proving that we're actually, there's a 15 years guarantee here. Sleep good, feel good. Well, what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything, but if you give it a stamp of approval, then it means something to people. People think it means something. So, and then the offer here is a 60-night trial offer. So try before you buy. So these are all strategically placed. They started with a 30-day. People didn't do it. They found 60 days was enough to make people really understand. And the beauty with that, if you were to trial a bed for 60 days, what do you reckon their return rate was?
Well, yeah, nobody returned by the time they've had it.
No, because what's the first thing you do if you get a new bed?
Go sleep.
What do you do with your old bed?
Chuck it out.
Chuck it out. So if you want to return this, then you've got to go and find another bed. So basically, you could make this a 1 year trial.
Yeah.
No one's going to take you up on it. Okay, and I think the latest ones, the Simba beds that you see now on TV, they're now ridiculous because they know that no one's going to take them up on it. Okay?
Yeah.
And then we've got a call to action. So we've got make it very easy for them to make a phone call. In this case, there's a coupon because back in the day, that was the way that people interacted. These days it's complete a form, download something, something where I can gain your information. At any point on here, are we selling a bed?
Yeah, all the way through it.
All the way through it, but are we actually expecting them to part with money to buy this bed?
Not expecting it, no.
No.
but that is what it's set out to do.
The end goal obviously is,
Yeah.
but the result of this is how many phone calls and coupons can I collect?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the game we're playing here, because the sales technique will kick in once I've got the coupon or the phone call. But that's the second part to the game. The game of marketing is to get people to make that phone call or complete that coupon. The interesting thing from this is, where is the logo for the company? How do I know who this company is?
You got a tiny one at the bottom.
Only one at the bottom.
Hmm.
Okay, so most people start with their advert as being right at the top, don't they? This is who we are. We're the superheroes. Well, no, the superhero is you, customer. This is all customer centric, and the only logo here is right down the bottom. Now, even this is strategically placed, because what do people, when people read anything, they read from, certainly in the Western world, from left to right, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so they come in here, read the headline. Now, why is this bed angled at 45 degrees?
Sorry, why?
Yeah.
Point to the call of action.
Points to the call of action. So your eyes come in here, they go along here, they see this person, they naturally follow down here, and they go straight to the call to action. What's the last thing you see as you leave the page?
Their logo.
The logo. Okay, so even if you don't do anything, nothing else, you've seen the logo, the Temper logo, and that's lodged in your brain. Okay, the headline, "Last my agony is over." Is that a pain or a pleasure? Marketing.
Pleasure. Pain. If it's a need.
It's a move away from pain, isn't it? We're trying to find people who are sleeping on beds that are giving them backache. What's the demographic we're marketing to here?
Everyone.
No.
Well, it's everybody that's got a bad back.
Yeah, but that's not what this advert is there to market to. See, when they did their analysis, what demographic is the most likely to buy a new bed? Because these are expensive beds. This is premium. This is back in the day.
Above the age of 40, I would say. She looks like she's 40, so that's how I'm saying that.
She looks like she's 40, yeah. Therefore, you know when you see an advert, if she looks like she's 40, what demographic age are you marketing to?
That age and above?
10 years older.
Oh.
Okay, because everybody relates to themselves at least 10 years younger than actually what they are. Except very young people who actually aspire to be older. There's a bit of a transition when you get into your 20s, 30s. So if you're 30, you still remember being 20. When you're 40, you remember being 30. When you're 50, you still associate being 40. Okay, so you choose the type of person that is the younger age, the demographic you're actually aiming for, because that's who they'll relate to. Why is it a female and not a male?
Because she's more likely to talk the husband into buying the new bed. She wants one.
Yeah, because they know that the majority of people that start the buying process for beds is females.
Yeah.
Okay, so every part of this advert is there for a reason, and they tested it, they measured it, they played with it. It took them over 9 months, to build that advert. That's the amount of effort they put into an advert that became award-winning and turned a bed company that no one had heard of into one of the largest bed companies in the world. Okay, because they understood their target market, they knew what their target market was thinking, and then they created the attention, interest, and desire action, capture the information to then start the sales process. They didn't just put in, amazing beds, £1,999, buy them now. It's far more sophisticated within their marketing than that. Okay. Now, that's an ad. This is an email. So again, how to attract more clients. You hit with a target. There's a picture there and a play button. Asking me to sort of come in and actually create this reasonable copy, nice and simple to actually, and then a call to action button. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's LinkedIn ads, whether it's through the post, even on the phone call. On the phone call, we've got to create that attention, interest, desire, action. We've always got to be thinking that is the script I'm using, the way I'm actually making the calls, is that conducive with that AIDA principle? Because if it's not, then we're not going to be as successful, and if we were. And then we've got to be able to measure the results. What gets measured gets done, what gets measured gets improved. So we've got to link it back to the overall sales strategy. What are we being asked to deliver on our sales? Then we have our leading KPIs and our lagging KPIs. So leading is activity, lagging is the result. So if I was doing a telephone campaign, the only thing I've got control of is how many dial outs do I make. If it was an email campaign, how many emails do I send? Okay, the result of that is the result. But if I don't do the activity, then I'll never get the result. Okay, so we've got to be really clear what we're measuring and make sure we measure it. And that's down company, department, service, but down to your own personal KPIs. If you're in marketing, you should be measuring what you're doing, my activity and my result, because that's what motivates you. That's what whether you're doing a good job or not. You keep a dashboard of that. So, you set your budget. So this is a way to set your budget around your, here we've got 10 campaigns, this is our cost to market. This is the targets that we want to achieve. And then we can measure the results that we're actually trying to get from it. Okay, so we've got to be able to measure, what gets measured gets improved. And we can't leave it. If we're in marketing, we've got to hold ourselves accountable, to actually achieving these things. And we've got to have our own measurements to actually understand what's working, because that ultimately drives the return on investment. So bring it all together. This is a fantastic. So if you are into marketing, Seb, I would definitely recommend you read this. The others, I'd put it on the reading list, because marketing isn't necessarily your main one, but to me encapsulates what great marketing is. So, highly effective marketing plan by Peter Knight. And he says, first thing you've got to do is set the goal and the target, which is what we talked about. What is the have? What do I actually want to achieve? Then you find your target audience. What are they currently thinking? Do you want them to think? Then what's the story? What's your USP? What's the message you're trying to get out to them? Then how do I communicate? So that's the offer, that's the copy, and then how we measure this. Okay, so all of these aspects all come together, and you start to see some of the best marketing campaigns out there, the ones that really sell stuff, and you can start to see how they're targeted to certain demographics, certain types of people, certain customer base that are more likely to actually buy our business. And as I said, how many targets can you have? As many as you want. But the key to do it is focus on the ones you think you can get the best return, measure it. If it works, do more of it. If it doesn't work, stop it and try somewhere else. So, home fun. As a result of today, I'd like you to really focus on your marketing goals. Maybe it's just one marketing goal. Okay, start small. Don't try and do too many things too quickly. Think about what your limiting beliefs. What's stopping you actually doing the marketing you need to do? So is there a fear of rejection? A lot of people don't do the marketing because they're fearful of that rejection. How do we overcome that? And then think about that marketing plan. So, maybe pick one particular product, use the hemp. If you want a copy of the hemp, I've got that in a document that you can actually then fill in the boxes, which is quite useful. and I'm just email me and I'll send that to you. It probably won't be this week because I'm off on holiday for a week, but I'll deal with that when I come back and send that to you. But really think about what my goal is, what the target is, what my offer is, how do I get the message out there, and then how do I measure it? And if you hit those 4 key things, then I can't guarantee success in what you're going to do, but it'll move you a step closer, because even when you lose in marketing, you learn. Okay, and failure is often the driver of creativity. So it's better to fail and then start again than to be a little bit successful. Because if you can be a little bit successful, you never really find really what's going to drive the business and take it to that next level. So we did one for one company, the one that was spending £50,000 a month on Facebook. We changed tack, we went to affiliate marketing, and that had a better return on investment. And now we spend £200,000 a month on that. Okay, so we went from £50,000 a month for something that was just about working to something now we're spending £200,000 a month because the return on investment is that much bigger. So that's what you're looking to achieve. Now, you probably won't get to that level, but you want to find what your version of that is going to be. After all that's said and done, we're often said to never done. So it is down to you to take action. For Seb, you're well in your marketing journey. For the others, this is hopefully just the first glimpse of what marketing is all about. But it is a continual learning process, and it never stops. Marketing is always changing. So be prepared to put the effort in, and then you'll get the results that you deserve from it. Fabulous. So thank you very much, guys. Any final questions that you have? Did I answer? Did I give you some insights to what marketing is, Karen?
Yeah.
So and Seb, a few things there you can take and apply to what you're already doing, hopefully.
Definitely, yeah.
So look, do I have record, or we'll record this. I'll stop it now. So